Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and we've got a special guest today. We've got an empty chair, but of course, as she is every Sunday, joining me is the co-host, the president of the Butler DeArmond Real Estate Network, and the Charlie Butler team, Candace DeArmond. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning, Charlie.
You're not paying any attention, I noticed it.
Well, because I've got some.
You've been a very busy. See, I'll still call you a girl. But you're a very, very busy girl.
I am a girl.
You are a girl. You're.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
29 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are worse things you can be called.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I'm okay with that one.
But
I have been very, very busy. So it's been
we get people talking about like the interest rates. I'm not going to buy now because of the interest rates, but that really, and I've noticed how busy you've been. Mm-hmm. It really hadn't affected you much, has it?
No, I think, getting someone to a lender that is qualified to help them find the best loan product is important. But I also explain, I know as we've talked about before on the show, you're going to be paying a mortgage, whether it's yours or your landlord's.
Yeah.
And rents are astronomical right now. I can't believe how high rents are on rental properties.
Yeah, so. And it's even things like Section 8 properties through the government. Yeah. I mean, I know landlords who are getting like $1,000 for a 2-bedroom and $1,200 for a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, it's crazy what rents are. So I've had clients that they want to rent. They'll say, "Well, I'm just going to rent for a little while longer," and then they're looking and they're like, "Yeah, you're right. I can get, I can pay a house payment for what I'm paying in rent."
Yeah.
So that's just educating them on their options is, huge. So.
And with what you said, you made me think of something else. And I don't even know if you know this or not, but I mean, you know it, but maybe not this situation. Ashley Wilkinson, who's a good agent on our team, Ashley gets a call the other day about a guy who wanted to rent.
Uh-huh.
And Ashley asked him why he wanted to rent. And he had something on his credit, like a 30-day late or something, like 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, she said, well, it's worth trying to get pre-approved. They can, if that's all you've got,
Right.
It's, you can buy a house.
Right.
There are people out there, and I've had this happen a few years ago with a local lender and investor named Dave Clark, who we all know well.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave was selling a house on contract,
mm-hmm.
and I was his agent. And the girl's sitting there, and she said, "I wish I could buy a house." She said, "But I did have that late payment." And I said, "You had a late payment?" And she said, "Yeah, 3 years ago."
Uh-huh.
And Dave goes, "Well, while he's a lender, he said, I probably shouldn't do this because I'm selling you the house." But so we went to another old friend of ours who's now retired, Jim Maurer, and Jim said, "Oh yeah, I can do." So it just sailed right through.
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to be perfect, as far as credit goes.
No, you don't. You really don't need to be. It's definitely getting people. I have a lady right now. She was a homeowner. I sold her house, and there was a divorce situation, and she moved in with her grandson to a rental property, and that year is getting ready to come up, and she said, I don't want to rent anymore. I'm spending so much money, so we're out looking for homes for her to own again. So she's just going to get a smaller yard this time, and something that'll be a little easier for her to maintain on her own. So, that's what I do. I just educate my clients on. And
if you do that, I'm looking over here at Bobby. What you were saying to me about, you said you're not old like some people at your age because you're not carrying hard candy in your pocket. Bobby's got hard candy sitting in front of him over
Got
here.
a couple lifesavers here. You know.
You're way too young to be carrying hard
lifesaver.
candies in your pocket.
Look, it's not one of the butterscotches.
Oh, you get a cinnamon disc.
This is lifesavers. This is kids candy.
Yeah.
This is the opposite of
In
old man
individual
candy.
little packages, it becomes
Yeah.
old man candy.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, then I'll take them out of the package.
Yeah.
I was looking at that, and I remember what you said.
How easily he gets distracted by candy. Ooh,
He really
something
does.
Shiny over
Yeah.
here. Look,
Yeah.
Charlie, look.
Like, oh.
I'm not the only one that goes for the squirrel in this room either, though. So, am I, Candace?
No, you're not. You're not. That's what I'm trying to send this message right now and talk at the same time, and I'm putting some of the stuff in the message.
I know. Yeah, I do that too. So
yeah. Where I'm like, okay, wait a
And-
minute, I didn't mean to say that here.
And but as far as, of course, as I said, Candace is president of the Charlie Butler team, and we've got some exciting new things going on. Oh, am I
Talk into the microphone. It helps.
in the microphone?
Yes.
not just
That's-
around it.
That's how it works.
Okay, all right. We've only been doing this 8 years. How am I supposed to know? But Rhinebeck Homes have started 2 new subdivisions that the Charlie Butler team is going to be one of the 2 exclusive agents, and we've got one in Booneville, and for quite a while, Candace, they have wanted Booneville. I know they talked to Jago. Jago's been on here and talked about that before, and but Rhinebeck's. That's something that's really needed in Booneville too, and it's because there's no new construction hardly.
No, there's really not much at all. So yeah, it's definitely needed.
And they are going to have homes some homes in that subdivision 250 and under, and pretty well everything. I was talking with Matt Reinbrach yesterday, and they're building a 2-story next.
Yeah.
That is going to be like 289, and it's going to be much bigger.
Yeah, they
So-
do. I got the plans for that one, and
Yeah,
looked it over
that's
and-
the one. Yeah, the one you guys proposed construction. Yeah,
yeah,
they're going to build that next.
yeah. It's got a little more space too.
So we just sold the first one. Kathy French did an excellent job
She
on our
did.
team in taking care of that, and she did such a good job. The Rhinebracks want to use her more. So I'm really happy for Kathy, and Kathy did an excellent job.
Yes, she did.
But it is still pending. So anyone that wants to see that, Rhinebracks can build you the same thing. It was under, I believe it was 249.
I believe it was 249.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
They're-
recalling.
And their lot cost was a little bit higher than what we had in the past. So maybe a little more, but very, very nice area. And they've also just started one. They don't even have the first spec house done yet. It's going to be called Willow, and it is on. I guess that's still considered Green River out there. Once you get past daylight, if you just keep going straight on Green River across the highway there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's still Green River, and then it turns into 57.
Isn't that 57 that crosses it in daylight? It crosses Green River.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It does go. I think that is. Still
I think
Green
it's
River Road.
still Green River.
Yeah.
And so there is, Rhinebracks have started another subdivision there, and it's going to be very nice. There are other homes around it, and they're going to have, again, a variety of price range homes, but they're still overall, they can build you whatever you want. But overall, the $300,000 price point and under, which, Candace, I think, as even though you sell some more expensive ones, that is still, right now, that is the best price point to be in.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, we don't have a lot of inventory in that price range, so those go pretty quick.
Yeah. And you and I were talking, I guess it was yesterday, it's funny how things that probably just before COVID, we could get somebody wanted a home for $70,000.
Yeah.
A little 2-bedroom house, no problem. We'd have plenty of inventory. Now unless you want something that's really going to need some work,
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's I've got some people right now, and that's the kind of the place we've been where we've found a few things that were in that price range, but they were not move-in ready. Some of them were stripped down to the studs, and they wanted to be between 60 and 70,000, and it's been a challenge. So we have one that we're going to look at today, and I think that it looks like it's going to work pretty good. So yeah.
And there's an area here in town. Well, I don't care what it's North Park.
Mm-hmm.
Candace remembers. I do too. When we were selling those for 79 and 89,000,
and that was top.
And that was investors had been in there, completely redone it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a brand new home. Today, that same house is selling for 179,000.
Yeah.
And the investors are paying more than 89.9 for it. They're paying 100,000, sometimes over 100,000 for them.
Yeah, they definitely are.
So prices, we haven't really seen prices come down that much.
No, I think that we're pretty stable around here. Now, the rest of the country or a lot of places in the country saw price hikes that were much higher than ours too. So, but yeah, I've heard people say, well, I'm going to wait for prices to come down. As far as what we're seeing, prices aren't moving down much. In fact, they may not be moving up as fast as what they did during COVID and the couple.
And
years
they're not,
after.
but they're staying stable.
Right.
Because it got to as you know, it got to the point in COVID that we would have, and we do have a large investment clientele where they would get a house done and they would underprice it. It was almost a game to them. Mm-hmm. Then they saw how high it'd go.
Yeah.
Because they were going to get 5 or 6 offers. They knew that.
Yeah.
The first day.
Mm-hmm.
Which
there were some houses that there was more than 5 or 6 offers that we were going through, and that was a strange time.
It was a very strange time, and the thing that if we had inventory like we had in those good times in 2005 and 2006, there's no telling how much business we'd have done through COVID if we'd had inventory.
I know.
But
that hurt us. The inventory.
Well, I mean, as you know, we talked to people about listing their home, and some people, they said, well, yeah, we would make a lot of money right now, but where are we going to go?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And there wasn't really an answer for that. So, but anyway, I'm doing a lot of uhs this morning, Bobby.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you guys talk for just a second because I need to find this out about.
Okay. All right.
Serious business over there.
It is.
I don't know what she's doing. And she can fly on that keyboard though.
Because I'm so used to doing it.
She's almost as fast as I am on it, Bobby.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I look at you and I see, tech savvy. Those are the first couple words that I think of.
It's funny that people say that a lot.
Really?
They do.
Huh.
They do. They say I'm an excellent tech trainer if you want to learn how to fax.
Yeah.
Young people come to you with questions about their iPhones and their tablets.
I don't know if I've ever told this story on the air, but it's one that can be told on the air.
Okay.
One of the few I've got. But I had a guy, young guy, he's probably mid-20s in, good age, named Justin Long, works for MetroNet now. But he's with us several years. And so Justin, we were working on a pretty large deal. But it was an older client who faxed, and there's still a few of those.
Sure.
And so I get this ready. I said, Justin, we were working on it. I said, go over and fax this. We've got the big, all-in-one machine, it does all that different stuff. And so Justin goes back there, and he's gone. And I didn't think anything about it. I thought maybe he's doing something else, no big deal. And he comes back. I said, would you get that fax? No. You've been going a half hour. I said, what? He said, I don't know how.
Sure.
He didn't. He was like I said, 25, 26, something like that. And so it became a joke around the office then that I went back there and showed him how to fax and everybody knew that I was not the best with the computers and stuff, but that I was the fax trainer then.
Yeah.
So, at our big computer now, the fax thing is there. We don't even have a phone line running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Into it. Now
we just scan stuff and email it people.
Yeah. But the few that do want to fax, they come in on the fax comes back on our computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the fax, ma'am.
But it's rare. But every once in a while, you'll still get somebody. I always find it weird. I don't know. Have you guys noticed this? You go to a doctor's office, and they've got to fax they got to send something to another doctor or to lab. They always fax.
Yeah.
I think they do. I don't know why, but they do.
I don't know either. Yeah.
They don't email. They fax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're on your technical line.
Yeah. And I think they got people there that are smarter than me about it, but they still fax.
Yeah.
Maybe they just found it to be more reliable. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you guys remember thermal paper?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It gets hot. It turns black. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
A lot of receipts come on that type of paper.
That's the fax paper that came in a roll.
Yeah, it's kind of thin.
I never really have done much with a fax machine. I'll be honest. There's not a whole. I've sent faxes, but not very many times.
Okay.
Yeah. Originally the machines had, like you said, a spool. These days, if you fax, it just comes through on a single piece of paper, just like any other printed thing. Yeah.
And actually, there was somebody that had bought a bunch of stuff and they didn't pay. I owned a jewelry wholesale company then, and we were going to sue them. And the attorney said, "Well, it's the fact. If you remember that thermal paper, you just let it set in the file. The words disappeared."
Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled it out, and you couldn't have sued anybody with that. There was it was. Gosh, I don't know it felt that it had its own kind of feel. What would you call that, Bobby?
I don't even know. I know what you're talking about. I remember it was thinner and
like the carbon copy paper.
Kind of like that, almost.
Okay.
Sort of.
Kind of had that feel to it.
It came in a roll, and you put it in the fax machine, and then somebody's faxing you. It came out in that roll,
and then you would just rip it off.
Yeah, and you'd rip it off.
I've never used a fax machine like that.
It's kind of like a receipt is now on a roll, but just normal size, like 8.5 wide.
Okay. Yeah. No. Any fax machine I've used has been basically a printer that.
Yeah. Now we're showing our age.
Yeah, and now she's trying to act a lot younger than she is.
I'm just a girl.
You guys said it. I'm just a girl.
Oh. All right. Are you back with us?
I'm not, but
okay.
Kind of. So.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I talk. So
okay. Well,
this is just fun watching you just
okay.
imagining what you're texting.
Think of what
we
I
have
need
no
to
idea
say
what
to her.
Candace is texting right now, but she's going to share every word of that. No.
You don't want me to share the words of this one.
Okay. Candace's boyfriend or fiance had a birthday yesterday.
He did.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Josh.
Josh. Happy birthday, Josh.
Yeah.
What'd you do to celebrate?
Well, he had to get readers recently,
Yep.
cheaters, and he's had perfect vision always. Well, I have worn glasses and contacts since I was 11 years old, and I probably needed them before that, but I went to a very small Catholic school, and my best friend she did me a solid, and she'd get up there, read the bottom line, memorize it, and then come back and say, it's AFCZY.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew I couldn't see that. So then I whenever I was 11, I was moved to public school and had to get a physical. And as soon as they stepped me in front of the eye chart, I started crying because I knew I was going to have to get glasses. So I have always had to have glasses and contact lenses. And, I've had a lot of my friends that they'd be like, oh, Candace has to get her glasses or. So Josh has also had, perfect vision, could see everything. And I started noticing him doing things, and I was like, you can't see. He was like, oh, it's just the light. It's just the light. And I mean, he had every excuse in the world. He was like, well, no, it's this phone. It keeps moving. I'm like, no, you cannot see. So he went to the eye doctor, and now he has cheaters, readers, whatever. And so I got him some golf stuff, and then I got him a pretty little chain to attach to his new glasses.
What a way to celebrate getting a year older is getting glasses.
Yeah.
Just reinforcing that, yep, you're getting old, dude.
Yeah, Candace trying to make him feel good.
Yeah, well, I keep looking at, he turned 49, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm old enough to be with someone that's almost 50.
I'll be 50 this year.
I know. I'm trying not to, and I said that to him. I was like, I'm not going to pour it on too thick. I just have a few years. And he said, oh, I know better than to say that to you in a few
That's right.
years.
That's right.
Well, I'm glad you do.
I heard a comment on you yesterday. Maytess was telling me, she said, well, Candace and I are the same age. And she told me.
She's younger. She's 3 years younger than me.
She told me her age. And I told her your age, and she go, no way.
Her and I had a conversation the other day because she said, because I knew she was younger than me, but I didn't know how much younger. And she said she's 42.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you've aged well, Maytez.
Yeah, she's a very pretty lady.
Yes, she is.
And people out there that are listening have no idea what we're talking about.
They don't. They really don't.
This has been a strange show. So what else going on in real estate now that you're back with us, Candace?
It's spring, so things are picking up quite a bit. I mean, we've had really since January. It's been picking up more and more, but I've noticed a lot more calls here lately. So, but that's typical. You have people that they want to, school's about ready to be out. So they think, it's a good time because they're not messing with getting the kids to school and having to worry about, any of that. So,
right.
That's basically what I've just been trying to get a lot done.
You've been very busy, I know.
Yeah.
And, we've got Ashley Wilkinson helping you this morning with something we don't always do is measuring for bulletproof glass.
Right, that's one that we don't do very often. But when it's a bank,
we're selling a new location to a bank now, and it's
and I have seen working with the bank. There's a lot of really neat stuff. Some of those vaults that are in there are amazing. I mean, they're really cool.
Well, you ever know? I mean, every bank we've sold, because we had a client own several Old Nationals. And I asked one time, I think I asked Mike, the one that I said, nobody ever takes these things out. They always leave them. And he said, yeah, they're expensive, but they're not as expensive as it is to take one out.
Yeah.
He said it's cheaper. Now, they're talking about the big vaults, too.
Yeah.
He said it's cheaper to leave them in there than it is to take them out.
Okay. All right.
He said, and I could see that they would be I can't imagine how you'd get one out of there.
Yeah. I really don't know. I do remember, I believe it was the Holman building that we had a client that was interested.
Yeah.
And that old vault that was in that bank,
and
I don't remember what vault it was. It was a beautiful vault.
It was beautiful. I remember that.
I'm not that I've ever looked at a vault and said beautiful, but I did with that one. But remember, they had some people coming from a TV show or something that was interested. They were more interested in the vault than they were the building.
And the building was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it was a beautiful building. Yeah. Very nice building.
And that's for sale again.
Is it really?
The home building, yes.
Okay.
Now, and I think I don't know this, but it was a lot of work. You and I were in it with a client, and they thought it could be upwards of $40 million.
Really?
To put it back in shape. Yeah.
There's a lot of original detail that's still in the building that I think a lot of people want to preserve.
Oh,
that. But then you have like the top few floors, and they've been modernized. They're a little bit different, but I think that
And the
if I
roof was put
recall.
on incorrectly. There was a new roof.
And it leaked.
Leaked to 2 floors.
Yes,
The
and
top 2
so
floors.
that's why I
That's
think
a
maybe
huge
they had
expense
to-
there.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah,
And the electrical needs to be updated.
yeah.
Also. And
You know, we got to pay some bills too.
oh yes, we do. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
And can you look up the phone number while I?
I already know it.
You already know it.
Yeah.
You should know it.
I
Yeah.
do.
And the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show is brought to you exclusively by Bossy Title, and Bossy is the official title company of the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and most of the Charlie Butler team uses Bossy Title.
Yeah.
They are they're super dependable as far as we always say. If it's something simple, there's several title companies in town that do a good job, and it's not a big deal. But when there's a problem, it's when Bossy shines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I mean, you use them a lot, so you could say this just as well as I can. So I'm going to let you.
Well, any kind of when there is an old lien on a property, or attached to something that someone's trying to buy or sell, Bossy does a very good job of going in and getting that cleared up and making sure that you don't have this following you around. Whenever you buy a property or whenever you're selling a property, they'll help get things cleared up. So they really do. You're right. Whenever there's problems, Bossy will.
That's where they shine.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times that the actual buyer or seller won't even realize it's a problem. It's been a problem, until the title work starts getting ran. And oftentimes, Bossy will get it cleared up before we even have to say, "Hey, there's a problem." They're really good at taking care of things. So you can reach them at 812-421-4000.
Well, you're better at that than you are at the team.
I know. I don't know why that one sticks in my head, but maybe I call that one more than I do
Probably.
the team phone.
Yeah. But speaking of the team phone, you can reach any of our fine agents on the Charlie Butler team, and we've got some very good agents. We really do, and I'm not just saying that. I strongly believe that, and you can reach them at Charlie Butler team phone 430-1708, and you can reach me on my cell phone at 812-499-7758. Remember, we will have a cash offer for you on your home if you want to go that route in 48 hours. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week, actually, about the cash offer. And Candace, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on the team phone, as you mentioned earlier, 812-430-1708, or they can reach me on my cell phone, which is 812-455-6338.
Every once in a while, I have somebody ask me for your cell phone, and I have no idea. I've got your name in there. You know how it goes. I used to have everybody's when you couldn't put. I know you're going to say you don't remember this. When you couldn't put names in your phone. And I had everybody's memorized.
I used to have, back before cell phones, I memorized phone numbers and would have them. There's some that I still know.
There's a few. There's a few for me too.
Yeah.
Tim Malls, who's who's retired now, but was the biggest client. Tim's is still in my head because I called it so much. You know? And we got 1 minute to go.
We do.
And we will be better prepared next week than we were today. We talked about.
You think?
Huh?
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm curious to tune in and find out.
Yeah. What Bobby, I know, was not prepared today. So and
That's how I try to live my life. Just wing it.
Yeah. So, is it hard being an old?
Yes, it's hard. It's hard being old. Yes. Just stop right there.
An old rock disc jockey who's now. Is that what they do to rock disc jockey? They move them into the adult contemporary.
I think
stuff?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the natural progression of things.
So it's time to go, isn't it?
It is.
And so thanks for tuning in. And for Candace DeArmond and Bobby Gates, this is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
The following program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team. This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is Newstalk 1280 WGBF.